Big moves in the market almost never happen suddenly. From the outside, it always looks like everything happened in a single second. A candle shoots up, the price takes off, and only afterward do people start looking for a reason. But if you watch the market carefully and without rushing, it becomes clear that it almost always gives warnings in advance. The problem is that the most people simply don't see this. They focus on the results, not the process. They react after the move has already happened and then say the market is unpredictable. In reality, it just wasn't being read. Over time, I noticed one thing: before a strong impulse, the market almost always shows the same signals. Not loudly, not in an obvious way, but clearly enough for you and look. These aren't complex patterns of secret indicators. They are basic things and that appear again and again. In this video, I will show you 3 of those signals. I will explain how to spot them on the chart and more importantly, how to use them calmly and without rushing. While most people are reacting to moves that already happened, you can see the preparation for them in advance. If you want to stop looking at the market through the eyes of the crowd and start understanding what's really happening, you can check out my Telegram. There I regularly show these signals directly on the chart in real time. Without theory for the sake of theory, I also share access to my AI pod which looks for this impulse in advance and helps you to avoid missing important movements. No unnecessary noise and no empty promises, just practical observations and real. The link is under the below. Check it out if it resonates. So look, the idea here is very simple. I don't need a super formula. I need the market itself to show that it's ready to move. That's why I use 3 things and work together like puzzle on their own. So they might not even mean like much, but all 3 lines up, the picture becomes clear and you stop guessing. The first one is fractals. I don't see them as magic arrows, but as the markets or where the market actually stall and reverse. Essentially, these are the points where the crowd already made decisions. When these points start like cluttering close to each other and price moves between them, it means the market is compressing and building up a move. And when price starts breaking the last significant fractal, it's often the first hint that someone has started pushing the market in the one direction. The second one is ATR 14. The answer, one simple, is question. Is there enough energy right now for a move to actually happen? You can see a breakout or a nice structure, but if there's no volatility, the market simply won't go anywhere. ATR shows how alive the market is when ATR stays low for a long time. It usually means quiet conditions, and the most interesting part begins when, after that quiet phase, ATR start to rise. It's like the market is waking up. What matters to me is catching that the transitions when movement starts emerging out of calm. Third one is the alligator. It helps me to avoid trading when the market itself doesn't know where to go, want to go. When the alligator lines up are tangled and close to each other, that's a flat market. Trades that usually turns into the whipsaws, but the mice begins to spread up and line up in one direction. It starts to look like the beginning of a trend or at least directional move. I use the alligator as a direction filter and as confirmation that the market has stopped slipping. Now, how does this all comes together as one system? First, I want to see the market hasn't such twitched, but is actually preparing. Fractals shows the structure and boundaries. ATR shows that volatility is coming back, and the alligator confirms that direction has appeared. When all 3 line up, I know that this isn't a random candle or noise, but a proper setup before an impulse. If we simplify it even more, the logic is the fractals answer. Where we are breaking from, ATR answer is the fuel alligator and answers which direction makes sense to look at. And when level breaks, volatility start rising and the alligator opens up in the direction of the move, that's when I can work calmly without guessing and without the urge to express even when it's moved. That's the whole point, and you're not trying to be the fastest. You're simply waiting for the market to put together the conditions where a move is more likely. So the line signals, fractals, like if you can see that many people underestimate them, but they are exactly what shows when the market structure starts to break. When 2 upper fractals appears in a row, it doesn't just mean that price stopped making new highs. It means buyers can no longer push the price higher and each new impulse becomes weaker. So this is the first marker of trend exhaustions, like something experienced trades notice instantly. But I never enter right after fractal appears because a fractal by itself is not a signal, it's a warning. It says like watch closely. So this move may be ending after the second fractals appears, analyze the context. So what kind of candles are forming, whether volatility or is increasing, whether longer upper wicks are appearing, or this often indicates that a larger player is taking profits. And only after do I like bring in ATR and the alligator to understand where exactly the crowd will start to reverse. So ATR shows a loss of momentum and the alligator shows begin compressing its lines. When all three elements align, this is no longer guess what a full-fledged reversal setup. Look on the second signal years in ATR and it doesn't show the direction, it shows how much energy the market has, and that is like far more important. When ATR stays flat for a long time and the market is basically asleep, participants are not taking initiative, but when after a calm period, ATR start rising sharply. This is not just a spike, this is the moment when the market wakes up and it's ready to release energy. And here is important to understand this, ATR alone will not tell you where the price will go up or down. It only tells you that movement is coming and you need to be ready in advance. That's why always check ATR right after fractals appear. So the structure has already hinted to a positive reversals and ATR confirms that energy is growing. It means participants are being prepared for an impulse. Like that's when I start setting up an entry point, choosing time and waiting for the alligator to give the signal confirmation. This combination allows you to enter into chaos, but at the moment when the market itself signals that it's ready to move. So here the third signal is the alligator, and this indicator doesn't show up the trend direction. It shows the moment when the market wakes up and start moving. While its lines are tangled together, the market is asleep, there is no energy and no clear direction. But when the line begins to spread apart, especially after the fractals and an ATR surge, it means the alligator opens its mouth. And in other words, the trend has finally started moving. This is a confirmation most traders are missing, and it shows the move has actually formed and not just flashed for a second. So if the alligator opens downward right after signs of weakness at the top, this is the best moment to enter. And when all three signals line up, the probability of a strong move becomes extremely high. So let's look at the chart. We have two upper fractals. The structure is showing weakness. Next, ATR spikes after a calm period, meaning the market has woken up and it's actually ready for like sharp impulse. And the final touch, the alligator is open to downside. The lines have spread apart and confirming the start of a trend, and this is like the point I enter a sell trade. Just 3 candles later, the market drops by like 0.6%, which is a strong move for a 1 minute time frame. The trade closes with a solid profit of plus $410. That's impressive, and the most important part is this. None of the signals alone give the level of accuracy, but together they turn into chaos, into the clear pattern. This is the moment when the market speaks in advance. So you just need to learn how to listen. Before news releases, the market almost always has started behaving differently. And if you look like and not the headlines for the chart, this becomes very clear. Here's an example with the pound. Even before the news was published, ATR like started to rise, not sharply but steadily. This means volatility was becoming back and the market was no longer asleep. At the same time, the alligator became to open downward and the lines were no longer tangled and the direction started to appear. This is an important moment when price hadn't showed anything yet, but by the market's state, it was already clear and it was preparing for like move lower. In moments like this, I don't try to guess the new results. It don't need to be enough me to see that the market is ready. And when the news comes out, the move no longer accepted or unexpected. A minute over the release, price drops sharply without pause or hesitation. In the end, it's very simple. Those who only watched the news and saw the move after the fact, those who watched the signals in advance were like ready and simply entered the impulse. As usual, the market shows everything beforehand and you just had to pay attention. Most people in the market like are just waiting for a price to jump, for a candle to get big or the move to become obvious, and only like do they start thinking about what to do. A systematic trader works differently. It doesn't wait for the move itself, he notices the preparation for it. Fractals helps you understand where the market like previously stalled and where the real boundaries are now. And when ATR shows whether there is an energy for a move at all, or if the market is still happening. The alligator gives a signal, the movement when the market stops moving randomly and starts going in one direction on their own. So like these are just tools together, they are warning that an impulse is close. This combination doesn't like try to get the market and doesn't promise miracles. It simply allows you to do like a ready to earlier than the most people. And in trading, and this is the main advantage, if the approach resonates with you and you want to learn how to see the market in advance, you can check out my Telegram. There I show how this works in practice and gives access to an AI pod that combines these tools into one system. Don't wait for the moment. Learn to understand it in advance.